Let's go, let's go. Yeah. You know what time it is? It's the Tap In Podcast with Jamaar Milton. Let's go.
They hate me because I'm black and proud and unapologetic, and I wear the crown, and they cannot forget it. Yes, feel me?
Make sure you download that Black and Proud featuring Tazara Path. We went viral today. Let's go.
They hate me because I'm black and proud and unapologetic, and I wear the crown, and they cannot forget it. Yes,
we got Jamal Talib Abdullah Bey in the building. Stop playing.
You know they study your genetic code, then give it to the highest bit of soul. Fish out the fire like a Bendigo. The devil diggers cause we been to go. Melanated bodies on a sugar boat. Document December with no winter coat. Now they buck breaking on the whipping post and put a foreign language on a nigga though. Hella black, hella proud. A vibe you could feel when we come around. A Babylon fear us and gun us down. The skin is the weapon that harness power. I pity the fool if he act funny. Disrespecting the queen, we act nutty. Came through with the Mac dumping, all praise due to the black woman. Unapologetic, fuck who got a problem with it. My life in the scripture. It happened cause I said it, now I manifested, so I'll be painting a picture. Niggas breaking bread and they drinking blood now. That shit look like voodoo. I feel empowered every time the sun come around. Do you?
They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm
Relegated bodies on the ship.
They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm They hate me cause I'm black.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
They hate me cause I'm proud. They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm
Make sure you share it.
I'm black and I'm proud.
Share it to the fam. I see you in the building. Come on in. I see those nines up. Put them black fists up. Put them black fists up. Let's go.
This is that energy. Niggas couldn't put a price on it. No dollars. I am T'Challa Kamanga wrapped up in the finest linen. No collars. All the gods the same. Jesus, Jehovah, Kukulkan, Buddha, and Allah. All war or names. Just to separate our people, divide and conquer. So much more to gain. Cause we suffer through all the rain. Through the hunger and all the pain.
We got a lot of info today.
We open up doors and things.
Cause we are the people.
Under the eye of the eagle. Ready to ride on the evil. That shit I've been trying to teach you. Dying to reach you cause nobody fly and regal.
Yeah.
Black and I'm proud, never lacking a lot. I created that bush, it's a god, I'm allowed. If you on that bullshit, it's whacking them out. Booking these shows and we packing them out. I don't act for the clout, you know what I'm about. System designed for us not to get out. We must be divine, I'm not finna doubt.
They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm proud.
They hate
me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm
Oh God, what's wrong with them?
They hate me cause I'm black, black. They hate me cause I'm proud, so proud.
We about to hit 10,000 streams on that video. Make sure y'all check that out on YouTube.
They hate me cause I'm
I might stop the show
proud,
just for that when we hit that 10 racks.
Proud.
Let's go. Make sure y'all share this in all y'all groups.
They hate me.
Damn, what's wrong with them, Tazara
They
Path?
hate me cause I'm black.
Hey.
They hate me cause I'm proud. They hate me cause I'm black.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know what's wrong with him, man. hey, we got a special guest on the show today. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, imhotep, grand rising to the royal family, shalom, all of that, man, all of that. Welcome to the Tap In. Welcome to the Tap In. Where we drop knowledge, where we drop information, where all is welcome. and all is spread. Today we got our brother in the building. He goes by the name of Jamaar Talib Abdullah Bey. Make some noise for my brother this morning. Make some noise for my brother this morning. Now, if you don't know who this brother is, it's probably because you didn't attend the wake-up call when we was calling y'all to come on out and get this movement cracking. This young brother came out. He was there at the wake-up call. He was one of the guest speakers there. He is a MOOR, and today we're going to be talking about sovereignty. We're going to be talking about weapons. We're going to be talking about all the laws that come with that. We're going to show you guys how to do this thing the right way. So welcome, brother Jamaar Talib Abdullah Bey. Talk to the people. Let them know about you.
Peace. Yeah. So, like you said, my name is Jamal. I have prior military experience. I was in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years. While I was in, I was fortunate enough to coach some Marines on how to shoot. So I know how to shoot. Recently, we took some Moors out to some land that we have to teach them how to shoot. Things like fundamentals of marksmanship, weapon safety rules, weapon conditions, and most importantly, how to BZO your rifle. Basically, BZOing your rifle is if you get a new rifle, you have iron sights or you put some type of optic on it, some type of reticle. You want to make sure that you adjust the optic or reticle or iron sights to how you shoot. You can't just get a gun and then expect to, if it's a rifle, you can't just buy a rifle, expect to aim down range and expect you to hit black every single time with new sights if you haven't adjusted, unless you're just, crazy good. But most of the time you have to make your proper adjustments on your rifle. And so we're teaching our people how to do that. We did that live, just to show people this is how you do it. It's fine to make mistakes. The point of doing this is to mitigate those mistakes in the long run.
Right.
I basically came into more science after I got out the military, which was a huge, a huge mind fuck, because basically I realized that I served in a system that didn't give a fuck about me at all. And then once I learned about more science and how it affects us as far as the legal system and politics and us being a separate nation, I have a different perspective on things now. You know what I mean? So the very topic of, us bearing arms is exactly what these people don't want, and just to start it off right, I want to give you a reference point. Look up the FBI counterintelligence program.
Hold on. Before we even do that, everybody that's in the feed right now, I want you to get a pen and paper. I know some of y'all is watching this on your cell phones and stuff like that, and we don't want y'all to lose any of this information. We really want to empower y'all today. So I highly suggest you go and get you a pen and paper. Let me tell you something about this brother. Out of everybody that was on the panel, this man came to the goddamn table with his scrolls in hand. He came with his paperwork. You understand me? And that's what caught my eye about the brother. He's very, very thorough. He knows his shit. So go and get your pen, go and get your paper so that you can get this information and jot it down. All right, go ahead. Continue, my brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm going to go into one of the main documents that I brought from the Library of Congress with me that day, because it's very important when we start to talk about separating from the system that don't give a fuck about us, that has been proven since the inception of the United States, that they don't give a fuck about us. So as I was saying, make sure you look up the FBI counterintelligence program, or FBI COINTELPRO for short, which you can look that up on senate.gov. You can look up the Church Committee of 1975, and you'll see where these Europeans, falsely known as white people, admitted that the FBI, since its inception, has been targeting our civic-minded groups and basically ending all militarized or nationalist groups, which they would call, would start a true Black revolution in America. So when you look up counterintelligence program, look up the Black Messiah Act, which is that they're basically their doctrine saying that they're going to prevent anyone from being militant, and they say to electrify, unify, and militarize our people to cause a true Mau here in America. Which, when you study the Mau movement, it was the revolutionaries before Kenya got its independence from Britain. The Mau was that uprising where they bore arms and they began to fight against their oppressor, which is the same oppression that we have here, just a little different.
They actually call it the Black Messiah Act?
Yes, that's what it's called. Yep.
That's
they also
insane.
have something called the Negro Informant Program.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, this shit is real, and they admit it. And Congresswoman Karen Bass, as well as Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and Congresswoman Omar, all recently admitted, brought to the floor of Congress that the counterintelligence program is alive and well to this day. So when we talk about bearing arms and us having a separate nation of people, when you study these documents, you'll see that's exactly what they don't want. They have us thinking that they don't want a quote unquote race war. They could care less. What they don't want is complete and utter separation of our people from their system, because once we do that, their system is done. Right. Which Malcolm X was starting to teach about that towards the close of his life. He started talking about nationalism, how nationalism is the wave of the future, how the people of Uganda and Somaliland and Tanzania and all these other African nations were getting their freedom through nationalism. He even said, we're not going to get it by marching. We're not going to get it by singing "We Shall Overcome." We're going to get it through nationalism. And when he, separated from the Nation of Islam, he started to, talk about militarizing our people, which is exactly what we need.
Right. So, how does one go about, for people who don't have guns, who are just not into it, who, how do we shift the conversation to them wanting to arm themselves? I mean, I figure like after everything that's going on right now, why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? But there's still some people who it's just, they think like if you have a gun, you're a criminal. How do we change that narrative and get them to understand?
So that's why I started doing my lives with guns on me, because we have that. It's literally brainwashing. It's social engineering. Whereas we think if you have a gun, you're automatically a bad guy. Who taught you that? Who put that in your mind? Because if you thought that, then when you see cops, you would think the same thing.
Right.
But you don't. Why? Because someone's literally brainwashing you to think like that. One of the things that people have told me once I started teaching about weapon safety and firearm safety is they said they felt way more comfortable after the safety training and after the safety briefs. And then once you put a gun in their hand, unloaded, they feel way more confident because they know the rules. Treat every weapon as if we're loaded. Never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. And of course, know the weapon's conditions. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Women have told me that they feel way more confident with a gun in their hand now because they have the safety training. That gives people confidence. Once you know how to do something, you're going to be confident when it comes to actually doing it.
Right. So,
so the safety rules and the safety conditions, how to properly handle firearms, that is definitely a segue into getting our people's minds to shift into the right gears, as well as displaying how we can have all these things and still be intelligent, still be peaceful up until the point where, like Malcolm X said, I'm peaceful with those who are, he said, I'm non-violent with those who are non-violent with me. Once you become violent with me, you nullify my non-violence.
I like that. Yeah. I stand by that 100%.
Absolutely.
As far as what guns people should buy, what do you recommend? Here in America, what do you recommend as far as an arsenal? You have a few of your guns nearby?
Yeah. Yep. Actually, I have some in the case, but I'll show you what I have right here. Let me do this real quick. Let me turn the camera around. Did that work?
Yep.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Well, my Glock is in the other room, but right here I have a Ruger 5.56. This is just an AR chambered in. AR means assault rifle. It's chambered in 5.56, which is the type of bullet right here. So it's not an AK round. It's a 5.56 round. This is a standard NATO round. Same thing we were issued in the Marines. I got this ACOG, which is standard issue in the Marine Corps. On Trigicon's website, it's about $1,000. You can get this on Amazon for $109.
Oh wow! Okay. Yeah.
$109.
I have a different kind
fiber
of site.
optic.
What do you call that site again?
This is a ACOG.
Okay,
It's just an
ACOG.
ACOG. It's a 4 times magnification. You BZO it at the 36-yard line like most other guns, but it's 4 times magnification. The only downside to this is that since this little fiber optic reticle, it gets illuminated by the sun at night, it's completely dark, which is why I have a night vision monocular on my plate carrier. So I would definitely suggest an AR because they're effective in almost any situation, whether it be close combat. This can, as a Marine, I was trained to shoot up to 500 yards, which if you're in an urban environment, you're not really going to need to be shooting, past 500 yards unless you're a sniper, which I also recommend you getting a sniper. I personally have, so this right here is a Ruger 5.56. My sniper rifle is a Remington 700 chambered in .308. I have a Mossberg 930 semi-automatic shotgun, and then I have a Glock 22 chambered in .40, and then my wife has a 9mm Glock 27 with 3 interchangeable barrels.
Wow.
But it's kind of, I would recommend AR and a shotgun for home defense.
Right.
Because with that shotgun, that's doing damage, especially if you have Dragon's Breath. So basically what Dragon's Breath is, which this is a dragon. Oh, no, that's a slug. That's a slug too. Where the heck is the Dragon's Breath? Oh, right here. This is the Dragon's Breath. It basically shoots fire out of your shotgun. So if you want to, prevent someone from getting inside your house,
yeah,
this is a good round to have. Just be careful with the fires.
Right. That's lit. I think I saw you on you were shooting that on the gram.
Yeah, yep. Showing people that you can be intelligent, you could be peaceful and nonviolent, and just like bees. When you see bees doing their honey thing, they ain't bothering nobody. But guess what they got on them? That stinger.
Facts.
Which if we really want to prove that our lives matter, this is what we need. Imagine if our brother had 4 or 5 trained men and women he could call on or instead of the people standing there recording, what if they had this on with this? Just like, hey, get off our brother, and if you don't, you're catching the hot one.
Yeah.
That proves that our life matters. That marching and praying stuff didn't get us nowhere. The #1 marcher and prayer, Martin Luther King, told us he marched and prayed us into a burning building.
You did,
and he said these people have no morals. So let's start protecting ourselves for real. So I want to talk about this right here. This is a plate carrier. I got this from AR500armor.com. It's AR500armor.com, right? Which you don't have to get all this stuff. You can get one for $200.
Right.
Mine was around $570 because of all the extra stuff that I got. But don't buy a pair of Jordans for a month, and you should have enough money to buy yourself a bulletproof vest, right?
Right.
What goes inside of it is called a SAPI plate. SAPI stands for Small Arms Protective Insert. Mine is a level 3+ plate, which level 3+ armor stops 7.62 rounds, 5.56 rounds, and all pistol rounds. So basically anything that your SWAT team or any criminal or any police force, any type of caliber that they would have, this will stop. So if you're really talking about protecting yourselves, our community, our people, get level 3+ or level 3/4 SAPI plates, because that's what stops the bullets.
Right.
This right here is an IFAK. IFAK stands for Individual First Aid Kit. So if you get shot, or if you get shot, your buddy can run up to you, open up your first aid kit, put quick clot on the gun, on the wound or whatever, and you'll be straight. Again, this is night vision monocular. This is a radio set that I got from Amazon for like $84. It came with 4 of them. These magazines right here, 30-round mags, they were like $20 each. And then I have extra pistol magazines, on my plate carrier. These 2, this one on the side, and then my Glock would go right here. So this total was probably close to, with the rifle included and the ACOG and the night vision and the ballistic helmet too. Probably close to. Oh, I'm hearing myself. Sorry. It was probably close to like maybe $1,000 over time. Maybe a little bit more. Because also I have a shotgun and a rifle too. But yeah, it's like I said, you don't have to get this right here. This is just what I wanted. You can get a leg or a leg mounted pistol holder or sidearm holder or something that goes in your pants, or you don't have to have a sidearm on you at all. And
right.
You know, I got side sappies on mine, which you don't have to get side sappy plates. You know, this just protects my rib cage from any bullets too. It's just I decided I want my rib cage to be protected. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to have a radio either. It's just if you're going to be in a fire team or if you have other people you're training with, you know, you're going to want to communicate with them, and if you need to, you're going to want to communicate with them quietly. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of times where this system continues to fail us, and a lot of times, as a Moor, as someone who studies law, I know that our people oftentimes get thrown into jail for victimless crimes. When you have people like Jeff Fort, who is uniting our people on a serious level, they throw him in jail for 168 years with no human contact. That's a
Wow.
prisoner of war. We should have people trained to extract people like that. If we're really talking about a complete separation from the system that's been oppressing us, and we're really talking about our own nation of people, and really talking about our life matters, that's how nations operate. Look
Right.
at El Chapo's son when they snatched
Yeah.
him up. What did those people do? They fought day after day until they released him. They didn't go beg and march and pray. They didn't go file paperwork because they know the system that they're dealing with.
It's a fact.
Which I'm not suggesting anyone just jump into this. This is where proper education and proper training comes into play, because
Right.
right now we are not fit to defend ourselves in the
Collectively. Yeah.
manner that we all see it in. You understand what I'm saying? We're
Yeah.
not ready for that, and that's fine. We have to admit that, because once we admit that, then we can prepare for it and get closer to that goal.
Right. That's right.
And as far as buying guns, as an example, in the state of Rhode Island, you don't need a license to buy a rifle, a shotgun, or a pistol, or any gun at all. It's just the only requirement that they have is if you want a pistol, you have to take a safety test, which is about 50 questions, and you can get up to 10 wrong, and all you get is a blue card that says you passed the safety test, and then you can get a gun. You just have to be 18 years or older. So if you're interested in buying a firearm the quote unquote legal way, which I'm only saying quote unquote legal because the fact that they regulate how and how to buy firearms, what type of firearms you can get, what type of magazines you can hold, whether it be fully automatic, semi-automatic, 3D printed or not. Every single law regulating firearms is an infringement on your constitutional right to bear arms, which if you study history, you'll see once the Black Panthers started bearing arms, that's when they started to change the laws on it, because they were like, oh shit, these so-called Black people are arming the fuck up,
Right.
which is what they don't want. So that's why Moors will say things like, we're not citizens of the United States, because once we establish that separate political designation, that means their laws don't apply to us.
Right. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit too. Somebody in the feed has a question.
Yep.
Let me pull it up. He said, I think it was a really good question. He was talking about felons.
Yeah.
What about ex-felons getting their gun rights back?
So again, this is where it's either you're either gonna do it through their system and try to get an expungement, or we're gonna actually form a complete separation and apply our own laws to our people. That's the only solution. Just like Malcolm X said, the nationalism is the wave of the future. The way everyone is getting their freedom is via nationalism. Nationalism is saying, hey, I'm not part of your system. Since I'm not part of your system, I don't have to abide by your laws. As an example, the Chinese people don't create laws that apply to Japanese people. Japanese people don't create laws that apply to Chinese people. It's called diversity of nationality or diversity of citizenship. This is what Moors have been teaching. And since, we already have in our minds that concept of black and white, that in itself is a political separation. So once we start thinking, okay, black and then nationality and how their laws don't apply to us, then we'll start to look at this problem from at a different angle,
Right.
which is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Which again is why I'll show you real fast. This right here. This right here is stating that the 14th Amendment is unconstitutional right here. Right? You see that? 14th Amendment is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to show you the source real quick. Let me scroll to the top. This is from the Library of Congress. This is the Proceedings and Debates of the 90th Congress. First Session, Volume 113, Part 12, June 12, 1967. Now, the reason why that is so important is because the whole basis of our citizenship in the United States is based on the 14th Amendment. Now, this all ties into sovereignty because, again, sovereignty, the word sovereignty means absolute power. You don't have absolute power if you're subject to another nation's laws. That's just a fact.
Right.
So we have to truly examine the laws of the United States so we can say, okay, here's how we're not citizens of this. Here's how our lives don't matter in their system. So we have to have our system politically, not just, you know, and I'm not trying to put anyone down, but not just emotionally, you know, not just emotionally. There's an actual science behind this. So the reason why I talked about the 14th Amendment is because they lied to us and told us that the 14th Amendment reversed the Dred Scott decision of 1857, if I'm not mistaken, which in the Dred Scott case, it was stated that blacks and other slaves were never intended to be U.S. citizens, right?
Right.
Now, we were taught as if that was a hatred thing towards us. No, it's not. And I'm not going to get into that part of history because we'll be here all day. I'm just going to stick to, you know, brief stuff so that way you can do more research on your own, right? So they had to create the 14th Amendment to lure us in their system, because once we agreed that, yes, you govern our lives, that's how they can do anything they want to us. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, this political aspect is deeply connected to how and why these people just murder us on the streets and then nothing happens to them. The reason why nothing happens to them is because we as a nation of people are not taking them to our courts. The reason why we're not taking them to our courts is because, again, we think we're part of their system. We think we're citizens of their government, which we're absolutely not. You know, so once we start looking at it from that aspect, we'll start realizing, okay, since we're not citizens of their stuff, none of their laws apply to us. And since none of their laws apply to us, we can buy, you know, transfer, exchange, and sell firearms any way we see fit. And then especially when it relates to, as we were talking earlier before we started, with the Nation of Islam and how their principles align a lot with more science as far as our people being released from state prison. Because since we're not citizens of the United States, that means all these state courts that have been prosecuting our people for victimless crimes and, you know, basically funding the prison industrial complex with slave labor, that means all those people have to be free, which is exactly what they don't want. So again, that's why I brought up the FBI COINTELPRO and the Black Messiah Act and the Negro Informant Program, because it's specifically designed to prevent our people from getting this type and this form of information, because this is what cuts the political bands that has been tying us to this oppressive system.
Wow.
Literally.
Wow. So they can just get away with murdering people.
Yeah, and the reason why it's and again, I want to be clear, because it's not simply because we say we're black, because that's how Moors will try to teach it when that's not what it is. It's not simply because the 14th Amendment. It's us. Our people die, and we don't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, other places, other nations like China has no extradition laws, which means it don't matter what type of crimes their people commit somewhere else, they're not giving up one of their own. Yeah, that is a principle of nationality. That's a principle of nationhood. That's what we need, because we don't have that. When you look up the Negro Informant Program of the FBI, it's literally us selling each other out. You know, when you look up the Malcolm X documentary on Netflix, it was literally one of our people that murdered him. You know, then, you know, allegedly, because we have to say allegedly, right? Right. Then this alleged murderer lived in New York, New Jersey, his whole life, lived a full life. People, quote unquote, knew about it allegedly, and he was untouched.
Facts.
Where they do that at?
How? How, bro?
Where do they do that at? Show me one nation of people that functions like that, because I'm almost willing. If I could gamble, I would gamble that ain't no way in hell the United States is going up in China, murdering one of their people, and then getting away with it. Yeah. No way. You either the Chinese people are going to bring you to their courts, or if not, they're going to deal with you however way they see fit, which is our right to do as a people. You know, Marcus Garvey was talking about that. Dr. Henry Clark was talking about that, how we need a nationality. Even recently with T.I. on that show with Killer Mike, he was saying black ain't a nationality, Negro ain't a nationality. We need our own flag. We need our own laws. That is true.
Right.
You know,
So now, how
yeah,
does
go ahead.
one change their nationality? How does that actually work?
Yeah, so it's so there's different levels to this stuff, right? The change is where you thought you were something and then you start identifying as something else. That's the change. When it's really not. It's by blood. Your nationality is your bloodline. Who we are never changed. It's just
Right.
we forgot.
Right.
You know, it's just our identity has been stripped from us, and then foreigners put a different identity on us. Then they fragmented our history, you know, allowed some of us to get different parts of our history, so that way we stay divided. You know, so now it's, you know, it's well, I'm black and you're so-called Spanish, so we can't link. Meanwhile, we're the same people. Or
Right.
I'm black and you're Indian and we can't link. Meanwhile, we're the same people. Or I identify as a Moor and you identify as a Kemite, and since, oh, you're not saying the word Moor, now we can't link when we're the same fucking people.
Right. Right.
You
And
know, it don't
I'm
it
glad you said that.
when
I'm
it
glad
comes
you
to
said
our
that.
oppressor, we're the same fucking people. Once
Fact.
we get this oppressor off our back, then hey, bro, you know, let's talk more about more science,
Yeah.
because then we'll have the luxury to relax.
Yeah.
You know, and then we'll figure out the cosmos, and, you know, figure out if the earth is flat, and figure out what other galaxies are out there, and figure out,
Right.
you know, the dark side of the moon, once we get this oppressor off of our back, which is why I go so hard with the law, because you cannot dispute what I just showed you about the proceedings and debates of the 90th Congress, first session, volume 113, part 12, June 12, 1967, page 15641. I breathed that shit. I said that shit in a courtroom. They say nothing.
Yeah.
It's called judicial notice. They can't go against it.
Talk
We
about
got
it.
cases dismissed based on that.
Talk
RisingTheMoors.org. Click on public information page, and you'll see where we got felony charges dismissed because we're not citizens of the United States. Felony charges.
Facts.
Felony charges dismissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
No attorney, not paying nobody shit.
I've seen it.
No pale skinned person who don't look like us, who don't share the same culture as us, the same swag as us, don't share nothing like us. You can't speak for me. You don't even look like me.
I've seen it happen.
Nationalism.
And then, so let's talk about the flip side, because I've seen Moors, some Moors, you know, go up there and they just walk away clean, and then I've seen other Moors go up there and they get their ass handed to them and they end up being fucking changed. What is the difference between the two? What makes one go through and one not?
There is no real difference. Some of the difference may be certain Moors don't really know what the fuck they're talking about. The other difference may be, you know, we're still dealing with human beings. So, you know, one so-called judge might be more lenient than another so-called judge, you know, but they're still the oppressor. It don't matter. It don't matter how lenient they are. They still shouldn't have been in that courtroom anyway, because all these people know. Literally, I recorded when I was in the courtroom the other day. I said, this is Morocco. The judge didn't say nothing. He didn't say, no, it's not. He didn't say, well, nah, this is the United States. Well, no, this is North America. I said, yeah, this is Morocco. He said nothing.
Right.
You know, and this is in a courtroom. Meanwhile, on the streets, you tell our people this is Morocco. They say, no, it's not. How come you're saying no, it's not? But this judge who makes decisions every day, who argues law, ain't saying otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, it's only when it comes to our people where we want to, because, and I get it, because we've been stripped of our identity, so we cling to the crumbs that we have, you know, which is it's sad. It shouldn't be that way. But I understand it. That's why when I talk to a lot of people, you know, I don't get caught up in certain people saying black and me saying more, because I get what you're saying. I know what the fuck I'm saying, and I'm not even going to waste my time arguing with what words you're using. I'm going to continue to use the words I use, because I know what they mean.
Right.
You know, and I have case after case after case proven that we got cases dismissed. That's part of what I brought to the wake up call, and I was hoping people would ask about it, because that is our remedy. You know,
Facts.
even when it comes to again, go ahead.
I peeped it. I knew you was ready for it. Tazara Path and I was building on that shit. We was like, yo, this brother came through and he had his scrolls ready to go. She just walked into the building. Shout out to Tazara Path for coming through. You already know.
Peace.
He said, yo, this a powerful brother right here, because he came in the street. He ain't, you know what I mean? He ain't come all flashy. He came through with his scrolls of what we really needed, that information. So,
I mean, we spoke on you. Peace and power, my brother.
Peace.
We spoke on you when we met you at the wake up call. If anybody missed the wake up call last summer, they missed out. they miss out on so many different ideologies coming together on a unified level.
Facts.
And
Mm-hmm.
spoke on you a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, and I said that I respected how you came. I respected when you came with the scrolls. We knew what it was. We the
Yeah.
type of people that we need that. We
Absolutely.
enjoy somebody that's that fervent
Yeah.
about what they living. And
Right.
when you
Yeah.
live it and you doing it, because there's a lot of people out here that's talking it but not living it. But when you're living
Facts.
it, you could tell how
Yeah.
people respect what they're talking about, how people bring what they're talking about. And
Yeah.
then you also I dug the fact that everything about you was so against what anybody would consider the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Down to your
Mm-hmm.
hair, down to what you had on. Like
Yep.
everything about you was like, I'm not one of them.
Word.
I'm
Word.
not
We are
one of
not
them.
the same.
And let's get that right. So I
Yeah.
appreciated meeting you, my brother. I so yeah. Every post, I got you on notifications, and I don't do that. I got you on notification. Like every post you
Oh
make,
man.
I get a notification that you made a post because I know that you're coming with some kind of information that I need,
Yeah.
some kind of information that I could tell my people about what they need.
Yeah.
And I think that you've given a new energy and you've given a new level of information to what we consider the conscious community were considering Moors.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a minute, it was going a little left.
Yeah. Yeah.
A minute, nobody really understood. Well, what are y'all? What's the premise? And I think you give a very crystal clear clarity,
I appreciate that.
and a respect of the information. And I want to tell you that I appreciate you.
I
I,
truly
I
appreciate that. No
appreciate
lie.
you, my
I
brother,
really do.
doing what you're doing. And if there's anything that I could ever do to assist to help you, please let
Thank
me
you.
know. Please
Just keep sharing the information. Keep sharing the information, because, I hear our people all the time talk about, you know, uh, complaining rightfully about things like the prison industrial complex, how we're in this lower status of living. And, the reason why I came with the paperwork is to show our people this is the solution. Maybe someone else gave you more science differently. Maybe you wasn't ready for it at that time, but this is facts that you can't dispute. So you're gonna receive the information, and you're either gonna accept it or reject it. But if once you start rejecting it, it's gonna eat away your soul. So one of the solutions I try to tell our people about, when as it relates to sovereignty, is if you have a pen, please write this down. Is House Resolution HR 25. It's the Fair Tax Act of 2019. Now this wasn't just introduced in 2019. This was introduced 2008, 2009. And 2015, if I'm not mistaken. If you read House Resolution 25, you'll see where it talks about Congress is trying to repeal federal income tax and the IRS. They're trying to dissolve the entire IRS. Then they give reasons. It states that the IRS and federal income tax is unfair and inequitable. It destroys jobs, and it has a negative or adversely disproportionate effect on lower income Americans. That's you and me, right? Then it talks about how it raises the cost of employment. So when we talk about our own businesses and us making a living off of that, you're wrong, because it doesn't matter how much you make. They're going to put you in a certain tax bracket, especially when you submit information to them and you let them know who you are. They're going to raise taxes higher. They admit it. Literally, the representative that proposed that bill, House Resolution 25, admitted that. They admitted that they're going to raise taxes so high that they're going to force you to sell your business and force you to sell your land to pay them. Then also, if you have a pen, write this down. I'll show you right here. Let me turn the camera around, because whenever we talk about our businesses and our dollar and our own economy, we can't talk about that without talking about these laws, because the only way that that's actually going to prosper is when we separate from them. Right. So let me show you this real fast. This is again federal law. All right. So this is CFR stands for Code of Federal Regulations, 26 CFR subsection 601.602 tax forms, right? Check this out right here. The tax system is based on voluntary compliance. You see that? The tax system is based on voluntary compliance. You see that?
Yeah.
Which means once you look up the word voluntary and you see that it's of your own free will, you'll see where you don't have to pay no taxes to nobody. Especially, this is why I brought up earlier the 14th Amendment being unconstitutional, especially if you're not citizens of of the so-called government, that means you don't owe them any taxes.
Mm.
You know, this is what more science is about. Not
So
just
now,
not just using words and saying, well, because of this word, you know, that makes you subject to them. No, it's not just the word. It's your mental competence. It's, do you know
yeah,
the laws or not? Do you know which laws apply to you or not? You understand what I'm saying?
right. So okay. So you said especially if you're not citizen. So what qualifies you as a citizen?
Yeah.
Like what if you're a Moor, but you're working
Yeah.
for the white man? What if you know what I'm saying? Like how does that
That's a great question right here.
does that make you a citizen
That's
now?
a great question. No, that's a great question. Let me go over this real quick. Let me just deal with this. Let me just deal with this first. Do this real quick, right? This is a law dictionary. All right, let me show you this real quick. This is a law dictionary. This is free white person. It says free white person does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European races. I had to get that out the way real quick, just for the record, right? So now let me show you this real quick, because you're talking about where if you work for someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Check this out. IRS form W4V. Guess what the V stands for? Voluntary. Because taxes are voluntary. Watch it pull up. Hold on, my computer's kind of slow. This computer was a gift. It was donated. Oh, look, now it ain't working. Let me just do W4V. See that? See that where it says irs.gov?
Uh-huh.
See where it says W4V right there, right? Click
Yep.
on that. Boom. Right? See where it says voluntary withholding request?
Yeah.
Right? W4V right there. You see me go to the IRS, you put your first name, last name. You don't put a social security number because we ain't property. Then you put, look, you see number 7?
Yeah.
I want you to stop withholding federal income tax from my payments.
That's it.
There you go right there. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's it.
Yo, that's fire, bro.
And we have Moors, you know, this is where Moors talk about the straw man, you know, right? No, I appreciate that. So to more directly answer your question, this is where Moors talk about the straw man, that all capital birth certificate name, and your free national name, or the proper properly spelled you know, proper noun spelling, where, you know, the first letter is capital and the rest is lowercase. Because in all actuality, we shouldn't have to fill out these forms. We should be independent contractors, and it's just based on contracting. But again, we're dealing with an oppressive system, which is why I had to show you the 14th Amendment, because the 14th Amendment is what draws that line of where we should be. We're not at the where we should be yet. We're still we're under colonial occupation. So when it comes to Moors, some Moors, you know, this is where Prophet Ubud Ali said, leave all old business as it is. So if you're working in that strongman name and that 14th Amendment citizen name, then leave that for what it is right now, because you need that job. You need to provide for your family.
Right.
But what you can do is do this W4V form. So now you get 100% of your paycheck. So now House Resolution 25, the Fair Tax Act of 2019, now you're not being taxed to death, right? And then as far as Moors working in their free national name, you can fill out the I-9 form, which, you know, it'll ask you for the USCIS number, which that's where the AA credentials come into play. So the citizenship is in your mind. Once you're able to break that down in your mind, then you can see how, okay, we're forced into these contracts now. Which once you realize we're forced into these things, we're forced into believing that we're 14th Amendment citizens. We're forced into being employees, which when you look up the word employee in a law dictionary, it'll say it's the same thing as a servant, which we ain't no fucking servants. Unless we serve each other, then we're servants, but we ain't no servants of no other nation. And it's distinguished from an independent contractor, which in order to be an independent contractor or to have your own business in a lodium, meaning you're not paying taxes to them, you have to declare your nationality, because your business takes on your nationality. You understand what I'm saying? That's why you'll see, you know, Irish Trading Company. Why? Because that trading post is governed by Ireland's law and any treaty laws that they have with any other nations. That's an independent nation dealing with independent contracting. So again, the citizenship is up here. You know, the 7 Hermetic principles teaches that the universe is mental.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's a mental citizenship. Same thing when you declare nationality. Once you declare nationality, you're declaring your allegiance, but that don't make you a citizen.
Fact.
Participating in the upliftment of your people, that's what makes you a citizen. Yeah. Participating in protecting your people, that's what makes you a citizen. Not, not just saying I'm a Moor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And not just saying I'm black either. That don't make you a U.S. citizen. It's how you participate in their feudal system. By
Right.
identifying as that all capital letters name, by submitting to their laws that don't apply to you, but you don't know that, so you do it out of ignorance, which makes it your fault because you see that they're oppressing you. So you should have deductive reasoning and realize, what, let's break away from them. Which again raises the problem of the FBI COINTELPRO and their Black Messiah Act and things like that. So whenever we talk about any, of our businesses that we so-called own, we have to mention the tax issue. Whenever we talk about our own economics as far as our dollar, we have to mention House Resolution 5404, because the United States Congress admitted that their USD, their United States dollar, which ain't a dollar, it's fiat, has lost 96% of its value. So it's only worth 4%. So we're working our lives, we're wasting our lives away for something that's pennies, But the only reason why it works is again because the universe is mental. They have us chasing the paper, we literally say it, chasing the paper. Paper is not money.
Value into
exactly. We're putting value into their system, which keeps it alive.
Yeah.
This is why Moors will tell you back in 1925 and then again in 1930, Noble Dry Lee bankrupted the United States. Well, how did he do that? Because he was teaching you, own your own shit. This is where the so-called Black Wall Street has its origin. It was Moors having their own businesses, not paying taxes to these pale-skinned people that we keep calling white, who ain't white and they ain't Americans. Right. They're colonists. They're Europeans. We don't owe them shit.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to view it from the so-called Moorish point of view, and I'm only saying so-called Moorish point of view because it ain't a point of view, it's the facts. But if you don't want to look at it that way, okay, look at it like this. These people allegedly brought you over here and oppressed you. What do you owe them?
Right.
Nothing. You don't owe them shit. Especially if you're making the claim that you built this country off your back. That means they owe you. So why are you still paying them taxes? Why are you still abiding by their laws? Why are you still doing that? Once these questions get answered, then we can give our people the remedy of the actual laws.
Wow.
Once our people's minds are open to that, then we'll say, here, this is what you've been missing.
Yeah.
What I've noticed studying more science is, imagine we were two different people. We wouldn't even be able to have this conversation. I would be so stuck on you saying the word black that we can't even go nowhere. Or you would be so stuck on saying, well, we're not Moors that we can't even get to the law.
Right.
Let's address the law.
Right.
Because this shit don't change. You can't say, well, Jamal, you saying taxes are voluntary is your own belief or your own opinion. I just showed you from the IRS.gov.
Right.
It's voluntary.
What more evidence do you need?
law.cornell.edu is voluntary. There's YouTube videos of the IRS commissioner telling you it's voluntary.
So we
are the only people who submit to this system almost absolutely. And then we'll get mad when people like Donald Trump say, well, I don't have to show you my tax returns. Why? Because taxes are motherfucking voluntary. But they don't want you to know that.
Yeah, I heard him say that, and I was like, yo, how is he saying, and why is he saying this publicly? That's bugged out. Because if he's able to get away with it, then damn sure that means that I should be able to get away with it. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So that was always in my mind. Somebody just asked, Melanated High Priestess. She just said, does the birth certificate create issues?
Absolutely, it does. The instrument itself was to put you in bondage. That's why it's on bond paper. It's connecting you. It's like voodoo, right? The birth certificate is a voodoo doll. They have you thinking that name on it is you when it's not you. You are the I am that I am. As an example, I'm not Jamal. I am that I am. I am whoever the fuck I am. My spirit has no name. It has an energy, right? Jamal, the name Jamal might embody that energy, but that's not me. You understand what I'm saying? So what they do is, as an example, they'll say, dear taxpayer, in that all capital letters name. And since you think that's you, you apply that energy to you. So now you identify as a taxpayer. So now you have guilt that you owe them anything.
Shit.
That's how it works. Again, the universe is mental. They literally dealing with high voodoo, high spell work. This ain't no joke.
Yeah. So
this ain't a joke.
So if you know how to move around
every single day, but they know that they have the public so socially engineered that you're gonna rightfully get upset about a murder, but It's not as frequent as they make it seem to be, you know. Meanwhile, things like taxes is affecting your life every single day. How come they're not teaching you about this? How come these congressmen and women are taking a knee, but they ain't talking about House Resolution 25 that was introduced in 2009? Didn't even change the House Resolution number. Been introduced since 2009 that affects you every day. Destroys your job. Let me read it. I'll let you hold the floor while I find it real fast. Oh, matter of fact, it's right here. I was already ready.
Let's get it.
My bad. I take that back. Let me show you this real quick. And just so you can see, this ain't my opinion. This ain't my belief.com. This is congress.gov. House Resolution 25, Fair Tax Act of 2019, right? So this ain't ancient stuff. 2019, this ain't old. These are all the representatives that know about this. These are all the people that know about this. How come you don't?
Right.
But nah, they're gonna dress up in so-called black colors that make you feel good and take a knee to make you feel good.
Yeah.
They're not gonna change your life, really. They're just gonna make you feel good. They're gonna let you march and pray, burn all your energy, not direct it at them, just waste it, and then you're gonna feel good afterwards. And then they're gonna continue to what? To do this. I'm gonna read it to you right here. Right? This is look, congressional findings. So this ain't my opinion. This is what Congress said. Right? Findings related to federal income tax. Congress finds the federal income tax, number 5, lowers productivity. Number 7, is unfair and inequitable. Number 8, unnecessarily intrudes upon the privacy and civil rights of United States citizens. So this is part of the civil rights movement. How come you don't know about this?
Yo, what's that number? How do we find that? I gotta put
this is congress.gov. Let me go back up.
Congress.
Congress.gov. Type in H.R. 25. You see how they have everyone so asphyxiated on that House Resolution 66666?
Yeah.
They're playing on the people's emotions. They know our people have been bred to utilize their lower chakras only. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That lower self only. They know that.
So let me ask you, like, filling out these forms, right? Do you have to be a Moor to fill out these forms, or do you could be of any nationality and fill out these forms and you Gucci?
Any nationality. You just have to know the law. You know, that's where being competent comes into play. Right. You know, and again, to be clear, your nationality is your bloodline. And, you know, not to try to get into a debate, but I have to tell you, as my brother, I see you as pretty sincere. I felt that when I first met you in the flesh. Not gonna lie, you are Moor by blood. It's just up to you to either accept it or deny it. And I'm not gonna judge you.
I always knew that because you know, the Kemites and the Moors were almost like one and the same. Like the Moors was the ones that came and they got that same knowledge. So I always knew that. Like I consider myself not only just a Kemite, but also a Moor and also an Israelite too. I have all that blood. I'm from the Igbo tribe, the Hebo. You know what I'm saying? So I you know, my lineage is very, very deep. And pretty much all the aspects I can claim damn near anything that I want to. It's just
absolutely.
Yeah. So
this is what I'm trying to compel to you as your brother, right? As your brother, you tell me you're a Kemite, I know what you're saying.
Right.
I get you. I feel you on that. But when it comes to them, together we have to say we're Moors and we're standing against them under one flag.
That's right.
Once we deal with that, then, you know, I see you in the street. Hey, peace, my Kemite brother. You see me in the streets. Hey, peace, Moor. We keep that shit pushing as long as we're fucking protected.
Yeah, I get that.
Right. So now look at this. All right. Again, number 8, unnecessarily intrudes upon the privacy and civil rights of United States citizens. Right. Number 9, hides the true cost of government by embedding taxes in the cost of everything Americans buy. Look, number 10 is very important. So is number 11. Number 10. It is not being complied with at satisfactory levels and therefore raises the tax burden on law-abiding citizens. They're talking about us. Then look, the most important thing, impedes upward social mobility. You see that?
Yeah.
So it don't matter if we have our own businesses. As long as we're registering it with them and we're paying taxes to them, they're going to what? Impede our upward social mobility, because the more money we make, the higher the tax bracket. The higher the tax bracket, the more they're going to take, because we're the only dumbasses that don't know that taxes are voluntary. That's why they said it's not being complied with at satisfactory levels and raises the tax burden on law-abiding citizens. Again, that's why Donald Trump said, I don't got to show you shit, because he ain't paying.
He knows.
Right? Now look, B, finding, of course he knows. Findings related to federal payroll taxes. Congress finds further that social Social Security and Medicare payroll taxes and self-employment taxes, number one, raises the cost of unemployment. Number two, destroys jobs and causes unemployment. But they're going to lie and tell you, oh, the Mexicans are taking all the jobs. Meanwhile, it's them destroying the jobs.
Damn, and they got this written in their documentation?
Bro,
like, what
since 2009.
Yo.
Right? Then look. Number three, it has a disproportionately adverse impact on lower income Americans. Who you think they talking about? Us. So it's targeted at us. How come we don't know about this?
This shit ain't
then
right.
Look, findings related to federal, estate, and gift tax. This is why nationality is so important, because nationality determines your political status. Your status is your relationship to your estate, which is why when you claim to be black, they enforce the Christian black codes on you, especially Article 22, which states that blacks can't own property. That's why they tax you to fucking death. That's why once one of our grandparents die and they want to pass us down anything, it goes to probate court, because as a ward, as someone who's incompetent, we don't have permission to deal with our own affairs based on our own incompetence. So these Europeans take advantage of us.
Yeah.
Not simply because we identify as the word black, but because we are incompetent and because we submit to them.
Right.
Because we think we're U.S. citizens because of the 14th Amendment, then we believe these people because they're smiling in our faces and they're wearing a fucking suit.
Right.
And they're speaking to us friendly. No, these people are not your friend. Look,
I don't like anybody.
It forces family businesses and farms to be sold by the family to pay such taxes.
Yeah.
It fosters the continued dominance of large enterprises over small family-owned companies and farms. Imposes unacceptably high tax planning costs on small businesses and farms. So we cannot as a people talk about our solution, our salvation, or our sovereignty at all without addressing these topics. We can't. We absolutely cannot. Which all of this is connected to nationality.
So I guess I won't be paying taxes anymore. Yeah, you're finished. Yo, this is a bomb that you're dropping right now. This is a bomb that you're dropping, and
this is sovereignty.
People loving
this, man.
Yeah, sovereignty is the way to go. We've been talking sovereignty, but it's not just about having money. You got to protect your money too, because they just sucking you dry with these taxes and shit. Like they're taxing you on top of tax.
Absolutely,
it's weird.
That's what Congress said. That's what Congress said.
Yeah,
don't get mad at me. That's what they said.
Hey,
that's what they're knowingly doing.
So how do let's say somebody found themselves in some legal audits or whatever, and they ended up in court.
Yeah.
What resources do we have to have someone speak on our behalf in reference to this?
So this is where it falls on us again.
Okay.
It has to fall on us, because again, these people don't represent us culturally. They don't represent us spiritually. They don't even represent us genetically. Even when it comes down to the melanin, they don't even represent us on that aspect. So how can they represent us legally then? This is where we have to study law, because as a separate nation of people with sovereignty, because sovereignty only comes with the nation, we have the ability to form our own institutions and teach our people these things as it relates to our benefit. Right. So as an example, if these people are claiming that, you're a taxpayer and you owe them, you would bring things up like the proceedings and debates of the 90th Congress, First Session, Volume 113, Part 12, June 12, 1967, to state that you are not a citizen of the United States. Therefore, you owe them no tax, no duty, or no obligations. Then you would support that with constitutional law and give them judicial notice. Right? You'll state that Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution states that only Congress can levy and assess taxes. And last time I checked, IRS don't spell Congress. So who are you? Furthermore, then you start talking about res judicata and stare decisis, which are decisions made by previous judges. You bring up Supreme Court stuff because that trumps anything. Look up Article 4, Section 1 of the United States Constitution. You'll say that in the Don E. Williams versus the IRS Commissioner case, it was stated that a note, which if you take that stuff out of your pocket that you call money, it says Federal Reserve note right on it. It don't say money. Mm-hmm. It says note. A note is an IOU. It's a promise to pay. It is not money. Then when you look up money in the law book, it will say it does not embrace notes. So again, a Federal Reserve note is not money, which is why I brought up earlier the House Resolution 5404, because it stated that the Federal Reserve note, that thing that you call money, which is not, lost 96% of its value. So how can, that's why in the Donnie Williams case, it stated that a Federal Reserve note, or a note even when payable on demand and fully secured, is still only a promise to pay and not payment. Therefore, when it's as related to taxes, it's considered a conditional payment.
Right.
Under the certain conditions that you believe it's money.
Crazy.
Because when you're dealing with law, when you're dealing with contracts, you're dealing with in order for a contract to be valid, there has to be something called legal or lawful consideration. Lawful consideration is two things. It either has value in the eyes of the law, which Federal Reserve notes do not, House Resolution 5404, or both parties agree that it has value. That's why it works. So all you got to do is not agree.
Wow.
Again, taxes are voluntary, so all you got to do is not agree.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's how they've been encroaching on our lives legally, not lawfully,
right.
Legally, because we've been agreeing.
Yeah.
That's why it says things like this in the Bible, and I'm going to paraphrase. All the devil did was say, "Come, you're the dumbass that answered."
Yeah.
So subsequently, all they said was, "They're taxpayer. You owe us this. You're the dumbass that gave them the fiat, the so-called money." That although it's not money, it still has the effect of money on your life, because you exchange your energy for it, which
right.
is how they're encroaching on our lives. There's multiple layers as to how they're encroaching on our lives. Multiple layers.
So we got smoke in the feed. Let's deal with the smoke. Daquan Johnson says, we don't stand as Moors international law. You have to have a language, our own education system, flag, etc. Moors don't have that. Only people as close is Nuwapians, Sabians. They stand in the UNN. Now, I've seen Moorish flags, but go ahead.
Yeah, we got our own flag. We got our own language again, and I'm pretty sure you can support me on this, brother. The English language is derived from the Medu Neter.
That's a fact.
And you gotta believe me. Go to etymononline.com. Etymon is Etymon Online deals with etymology, the true definition of words. When you look up the word grammar, as in grammar of the English language, it's derived from the root word greb, which that root word is where the Greeks came up with the word glyph, which is what they called our Medu Neter. They call it hieroglyphs. So the word greb means, or glyph means to carve. So when you're speaking English or using the English language grammatically correct, you're honoring ancient Kemetic or ancient Egyptian philosophy and science. So you cannot tell me we don't have our own language, because if you read Moorish history, you'll see where the Moors, who are also known as the custodians of Egyptian science, taught these Europeans how to read, write, and bathe. They did not create anything.
Historical fact.
So yes, we have our own flag. It's right there. We have our own language, which is all languages. And we have our own schools. It's called the Moorish Science Temple of America, or other Moorish organizations like mine, where I have personally written over 4 books. Have everything on my website, almost everything, because I have certain things for free that I didn't create. But 90% of the stuff on my website I created. Then you
What's
have places
that website?
like
Let me put that down there.
riseofthemoors.org.
Riseofthemoors.org.
Yeah. Then you have places like rvbaypublications.com, which is basically a free online university. So you ain't telling me Moors don't have this stuff.
Talk that talk.
You haven't done the research.
Talk that talk.
You know, and this ain't a personal attack. This is just don't make pejorative statements with no research, with no support. Don't do that around Moors, because you will get slayed every single time.
I already knew that. I already knew that. Like, no cap. This is me and Squirrelfoot's first official build. I already knew he was coming with it by the way he showed up to the goddamn wake-up call. I said, yo, didn't we say that? I said, yo, that guy right there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Huh?
I said, yo, if somebody come back, he's not the one.
He's not the one. Stop it. Yo, we appreciate all his info. Like, you dropping gem after gem after gem, brother. Straight up.
I truly appreciate that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I truly appreciate that. And in honor and alignment with Juneteenth, I want to show you this right here.
Let's go.
If you don't mind. Right. So this right here, I'm gonna show you. Excuse my front facing camera. I look like a 12-year-old. Right. This right here. This is House Resolution 1203 from the state of Georgia. See that? Can you see that?
I see it.
All right, cool. You see the seal? How this is a real three-dimensional seal. This ain't my copy. This ain't my opinion, right? This is dealing with excuse me, Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution, which states that full faith and credit shall be granted to the United States, and the judicial opinions and public records and acts of every state shall be enforced and applicable in every other state. So this is the state of Georgia recognizing Moors as aboriginal and indigenous to North, South, and Central America, and how we have our own separate nation, and how they recognize Prophet Noble Drew Ali as our prophet and our savior, and how they reference that Moors were freed. So when you talk about Juneteenth, you can't talk about Juneteenth and not mention the Moors. Right, so let me read some of this for you real quick. I'm just going to read this part, and this part. So just the middle three. It says, whereas the Moorish Americans are teaching their people their true nationality and divine creed, because remember, we're not Christians. Christianity was created in 325 AD by the Roman emperors, that they may become better citizens of our own government and know that they are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, nor Afros. All these things mean something in law, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865. In this era of time, as all nations are seeking peace, the indigenous Moorish peoples of the Americas, North, South, Central America, and the islands, are now united to link themselves with the family of nations. And whereas the Moorish Americans being aboriginal, so not only are we indigenous, we're aboriginal to the territories of North, Central, and South America, have formed a sovereign theocratic government, which means we're not citizens of the United States, and guided by the command principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which don't play on those laws. Those are serious laws, through the virtue of the universal right to self-determination, as well as the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, guaranteed in the Charter of the United Nations. So when Obama signed the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, after he went from Egypt, after he came from Egypt and said the Constitution is derived from Muslim law, he was telling you something. So our people got to stop saying he didn't do shit for black people. Yeah, he was giving you hints.
Right.
Right? If you're the original man, that means you're original to this continent too. Right? Then it says, whereas on January 8th, 1886, Noble Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina and became the first patriot of his Moorish American people, and in 1912 was anointed El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the head of Egypt and holy city of Mecca, at the time was Sultan Abdul Aziz, to return to the United States as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. On January 15th, 1865, slavery was abolished in the United States with the congressional ratification of the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections, and the Moorish Americans through it don't say black, it says Moorish Americans, because we were the ones enslaved. The Moorish Americans through self-determination are unfolding as a pure and clean nation. They are who their forefathers were yesterday. Now, therefore, be resolved by the House of Representatives, blah, 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 from the state of Georgia. There you go.
That's lit. That's super lit. It's in paperwork, signed, sealed, delivered. I mean, you can't even argue with that. That's,
and if you argue
with America
with that, that's fine. You know, if you argue against that, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the problem with subscribing to America.
I'm right and you're wrong. This is about. Go ahead.
This is the problem with subscribing to America. I mean, I try to get the people to deal with other nations and get their nationality in Africa or whatever have you, and I also told the people that we have to unite. This is how you get this information. You can't just be in one house and think that all the answers are there, whether you're dealing with religion, whether you're dealing with the lack thereof. It doesn't matter. Like whatever house you, or even just education, you're gonna have to walk through the different houses to really see what's really happening. It's a puzzle piece. Everybody has that information that helps to connect the dots. Like the way I look at it, I see the Moors as the ones that can really get us on point when it comes to law, legislation, the judicial system, all that type of stuff. I think the Moors have the secret sauce for that. When I look at warfare, I look at the Hebrew Israelites, like, what I'm saying, to be able to put an army together and really get it popping. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now learning about how the Moorish temple sciences get it popping too. But, I see a lot of foot soldiers and Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that. As far as organizations, I see a lot in the Nation of Islam. I see organization. They know how to put things together and organize shit and mobilize and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's all different types of shit. When I see Kemet, I see the esoteric, dealing with spiritualism and being able to connect to the divine and all that type of stuff. So everybody has something to offer to our liberation, to liberate black people from out of America and claim our nationalism and be able to reap the benefits thereof. This is such valuable information that you're giving to the people right now, because so many are stuck and they have no idea what to do. They're scared of the judges. They're scared of even their own goddamn lawyers. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know if they're on their side or what, because we don't know the law.
They ain't.
Yeah, so they're just guessing.
They're not. They're gonna say, hey, I can drop it down to a misdemeanor. All you gotta do is do the 6 months, pay me. Then you gotta pay court fees. You still gotta do the time. Then we're gonna put you on house arrest, and then you're good.
Right.
When if you knew law, you would know that in order for a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. If there's no injured party, the case must be dismissed. We got several cases dismissed like that. riseofthemoors.org. Click on the public information page. This shit is real.
Wow.
That is remedy. That is solutions. That is everyday solution. That is stuff that we can apply right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what do you say is the first plan of action for black people? What's the first plan of action for us collectively here in America to protect ourselves? First plan of action.
First, there has to be education. The right information, the right tool for the right job. Not everyone's going to be a warrior.
Right.
So we need people that can teach medicine, holistic medicine, not this bull crap pharmaceutical shit, which the word pharmaceutical means poison. So we need to teach our people language, etymology, syntax, grammar, things like that. So that way we can decipher all the bullshit. Once we have the mental foundation, we can manifest any and everything that's in our mind. The problem is we're lacking information. We're lacking useful information. Yeah. How many Moors do you see talking about House Resolution 25 when it affects us every single fucking day?
Yeah.
Instead of us arguing about we're not black, we're Moors, tell our people about House Resolution 25.
Yeah.
Then they'll see, oh shit, yeah, we really need to come together to fight against this.
Yeah.
Then once we get this beast off our back, all right, now we can debate for fucking years about black or more.
Yeah, at least
once we get rid of this oppression,
right?
Which you don't have to claim to be a Moor to fight. Trust me, because I thought I was black and I served in the United States Marine Corps and I was willing to die for these Romans, for these Europeans.
Right.
So you don't have to declare nationality to fight. I just suggest that you know what you're fighting for, because you might die, so you better know what you're dying for your spirit's sake.
Yeah. That's a fact. I mean?
Think about all the people that died,
and Afghanistan and stuff like that, fighting, thinking that their freedom was over there and shit like that. It bothers me, how many people die, from Vietnam. We got our ass kicked over there, and just and all the other different wars that we've had, from Desert Storm to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so till now, it's a lot of people that have died under the pretense, thinking that they're fighting for their country. And it's just sad. And we're on the front lines. That's us. It's people of color on the front lines really holding this down.
And if you look up the Rex 84 plan and the counterintelligence program, you see where that's by design. That's not a fucking mistake. It's to kill us. It's to make sure that any one of us that have any type of military experience that can really change our people, revolutionize our people, they die. Wow. And if they don't, then they end up like Jeff Fort again, and they spend 168 years in jail. That's what they're doing to our military generals. Why? Because we won't protect each other. Why? Because we're too busy debating about bullshit that we can debate later.
So now, let me ask you a question. So, speaking of that, Sabir Muhammad asked. He said, "What happens if a Moor actually commits a crime? Is he immune to the American judicial system?" So,
here's where Moors we teach you that America and the United States are two different things. America is a continent. The continent belongs to us. The United States is a collection of European colonies that colonized North America. So if a Moor commits a crime, then the treaty applies, and that issue is supposed to get litigated in federal court. That's why you'll see us where a cop punched a Moor in the face, and we're suing in federal court with me as counsel and the Chief Justice of the federal court for the Eastern District of Massachusetts is recognizing me as counsel and recognizing the treaty that we enforced as Moors, recognizing our Moorish IDs to even get into the federal building, etc. So if a Moor commits a crime, whether or any civil infraction with any member of the United States, that situation is supposed to be litigated in federal court with Moorish consuls presence, with diplomats from our nation there to make sure that the treaty don't get violated and make sure that Moor don't get violated and make sure that no pale-skinned person up there or no dark-skinned person up there with the European mindset is adjudicating over our people.
Say that.
This is one side against the other, and we're talking about this issue as fucking men. And if you got a problem with that, well, hey, Abdullah over there got 5.56 with one in the chamber, so you better stop fucking playing.
Stop playing.
Not a threat saying this is a peace treaty. If you violate this fucking peace treaty, there's no fucking peace. And if there's no peace, we're gonna load up those pieces, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, if you study Moorish history, if you study our Moorish military might, we were fucking feared for a reason, which is why things like the FBI COINTELPRO exist, to prevent us from getting that zeal again. Right. From electrifying and really being cutthroat with these people, because we're cutthroat with each other. We're not cutthroat when it comes to them.
That's a fact.
So once we start managing our energy, and utilizing different solutions according to the severity of the problem, then our lives will matter. Then we'll fucking get respected. But until then, it's going to be the same shit over and over and over again. It don't matter how much you march. It don't matter how much you pray. It don't matter how much you try to vote within their system, because they proved to you in the year 2000 that your fucking votes don't even matter.
Yeah. The votes don't even matter. That's a fact.
Yeah, look it up. In the year 2000, I think it was Bush running for office. You just Google it. 1.9 million so-called black votes didn't matter. Why? Because the 14th Amendment is not constitutional. You ain't a fucking citizen, so you can't fucking vote. They just have you thinking you're a citizen, so you attach to their bullshit fucking system. So separate or die.
Wow.
That's why Malcolm X told you a fucking political chump.
Yeah.
You a political fucking chump.
Yeah.
And then when you really listen to what Kanye West was really saying, then you realize, oh shit, he ain't crazy. He's starting to wake up, which that's why they started to put him on that medication.
Right.
Well, it ain't medication. I apologize. That those pharmaceuticals. The word pharmaceutical means to poison. They're poisoning his mind. That's why he's acting the way he's acting. Not because he started to wake up, so they poison his mind. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And
so
you don't gotta believe nothing I say at all. Don't cross-reference that shit and prove me wrong. And then in the process, you're gonna learn some shit.
What do Moors believe in as far as like the spiritual sense? Like as far as like do they believe in gods? Do they have what's their stance on that?
Yeah, so again, I can relate this to etymology, right? Our concept of God right now has been what's the word I'm looking for? Morphed. Or has been convoluted or has been corrupted, right? The word God itself is not a noun; it's a verb. The word God, again, according to etymology, which is the science of word, is derived from Old High German gut, which is derived from Sanskrita huta, which is derived from the Medunetter HW, or the ineffable word, right? So it means to invoke, to call upon, or to pour out. It's something that you do. Right, so we are God. We believe in our connection to not only the universe but nature itself. Yeah, that's why we're able to manifest on this plane. Moors might not teach it that way because they might not be on those degrees of knowledge, but they'll be close to the surface. As an example, in the Holy Bible, John 34, if I'm not mistaken, Jesus said, "Isn't it not written in your law that ye are gods?" Right. Then in the front of the Holy Quran that Prophet Noble Ali gave specifically for us, it says Allah and man are one. Right. And we debased ourselves from Allah, from our God nature, by thinking carnally, carnal thoughts and carnal deeds. Not cardinal, excuse me, carnal, like of the flesh, of the lower stuff. That's how we connected our mind from God. This is where, you know, the sixth chakra comes into play, and then the seventh chakra comes into play, which is why we wear the crown. It represents our seventh chakra.
Yeah.
You know, it also represents the womb of woman, because, you know, our spirit entered our mother, and then once it entered our mother, it entered our flesh that was being formed in her holy covenant. You know, so we see that we're God. You know, we see where the ancient African parable says, from the ancient water of Noon came a tomb and gave life to all things. Noon is really mom. N-U-N is M-O-M. From the raging waters is us coming from her womb. That's why we respect Ma'at, because Ma'at is nature. That's why we respect the Medu Netter, because the Medu Netter is nature. That's why it says in the Bible, observe all things which I commanded of you, and lo, the truth is with you always, and behold, the Medu Netter is Mother Nature. When you observe the truth, you see nature.
Talk, bro.
You know, so that is Allah. Allah is you. And in the Bible and the Quran, it says Allah put his spirit in you.
Right.
You are God.
Right.
You know, and of course, in the Bible, it says, you know, God doesn't live in temples built by man.
That's right.
This flesh isn't built by man.
Come on now.
You know, then you know, Allah stands for arm, leg, arm, head. You are Allah. It's just you keep disconnecting yourself from it, and then so you keep putting Allah outside of yourself. Yes, Allah is also outside of you, but it's also within you. You have to recognize that.
Well, happen, brother? Like you know, I know how it happened as far as Kemet, right? But you know, as far as the Nation of Islam, there are some people who look at Allah as an outside entity from themselves. They don't see themselves as a deity, because you'll hear it in their speech when they say, you know, you think you're God, or you think that you're Allah, and God is taking care of this and God is taking care of that. It's like, it's weird. Like, on one sense, they'll say, you know, that we are gods, but in another sense, depending upon the context, they'll say it's almost like they act like God is an outside entity and he's controlling the weather and all this type of shit. What is that?
So again, God is in you. You are God, but God is also outside of you. As an example, I'm a God and you're a God. You're outside of me. Also, the workings of nature, the workings of the planet, the workings of the stars, that has also been called God, because God, again, is a verb. The stars, the sun, the moon, they're all moving. And when certain stars are in certain positions, certain energy happens on this planet. So this is where you get the Eloah, or the seven eyes of Allah, which is the seven major planetary forces on this planet. Yeah, that's what that is. It's just our minds aren't connected to that that aspect of knowledge. Right. You know, when it comes to you know, the word God as a noun, as a being outside of you, you know, that's dogmatic. You know, that's not real religion. That, you know, there's a difference between religion and dogma. You know, religion deals with spirituality, because religion deals with breathing. The word spirit means breath, how you breathe. Your breathing aligns you with nature. Your breathing aligns you with the universal creator. That's what aligns you, which the word religion means to realign. Realign yourself. Stop aligning yourself with their idol gods. Again, the word God is a verb. It means to invoke. Idol means it's not moving. So you're invoking things that bring you nowhere. Based on what? Based on your mentality. That's why it says in the Bible, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So your mindset of what heaven is, that's what manifests it on this earth. Right. Because again, it says in the Bible, you are God. So if your mindset is fucked up, whatever you manifest is going to be fucked up. You know, that's why it says, you know the tree by the fruit it bears. You know,
in Kemet, we didn't use the word God, right? We used the word nature, right? So, you know, we talked about spells, right, earlier, right? In Kemet, we kind of look at the word God as a spell. It's essentially something that almost detaches you from the original context, the original vibration, the vibratory frequency of how we refer to the divine. So do you see that as an issue, or is that something that you feel that we can rock with in this case?
What you're saying is correct, but it's with the aspect of the word God being used connotatively, being used in its wrong context, again, as a noun and not a verb. Because what I just explained to you of it as a verb, I heard you in excitement agreeing with me, right? Because we're on the same page. It's just what the masses have been taught is, again, the word God itself, God, is a noun, which it is not. It is something that you do. And since it's something that you do, it connects you back with the divine. This is where you get the word deific, you know, which we are the deific man. We are the God man. Again, the word God is derived from huta, which means to invoke. Then when you call yourself a human, the word hu means to invoke. The word man means mind. It doesn't mean gender. It means to think. So we are the invoking mind. So that connects you right with nature. That connects you right with the divine. Once you know that in its proper context, you know, which again, we're dealing with the denotative or the true definition of the word, which you can find the true definition using etymology. We're not dealing with the slang or the connotative definition of the word God, which is using it as a noun, which it is not. So I'm agreeing with you. It does disconnect you if you don't know language.
Yeah,
but if you do know language, then it connects you. You know,
this
is why in the Bible is codified, excuse me, by saying you have to be able to separate the wheat from the chaff, or the wheat from the chaff. You have to be able to separate the bullshit.
There's levels to this. Yeah,
exactly. There's degree. That's why they have degrees in masonry, because there's levels to this information. You know, that's why there's the adept chamber, because there's levels to this information.
Wow.
You know, that's why to even get to the higher degrees of the Kemetic philosophy, you know, you had to be in it for a certain while. You have to prove yourself, because there's levels to this shit.
That's right.
That's why they say don't cast your pearls to swine. There's levels to this shit.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely. I agree 100%, man. I mean, you're right on point. You know, everything that you're saying, you're putting together. You know, a lot of people here are from the Kemetic African spirituality and the sacred sciences. You know, we do have people from the Nation of Islam in here as well, Hebrew Israelites in here as well. So this is helping to really connect the minds of the people and what we call the Ka, the information that we all share. It helps us all to delve into that gumbo. So how do we get in contact with you? What services are you providing for the people, if any, or any products or anything like that? You know, talk to the people, let them know what you got for them.
Yeah. So the most of my products is in the form of books, literature, writs and affidavits on riseofthemoors.org. I have several books. I have several writs dealing with the legal system, especially with gun charges and so-called drug charges, to assist our people, because those are the two major things that they're throwing our people in jail for, which are both victimless crimes, unless you obviously murdered someone. But possession of a firearm is not a crime. So fight that shit. Don't let these people put weapons charges on you when you have the fucking right to bear arms. And then don't let these people put drug charges on you, because when you look up the definition of drug in a law book, it says any substance used in the creation of a medicine. Then it says rights of indigenous people that Obama signed, which applies to you, Article 24, that indigenous people have the right to preserve and maintain all medicinal plants, animals, and minerals. Then there's case law that states a right which is free and open to all. It's not subject to a license or tax. So they can't make you have a medical marijuana license, because the word license means permission. It's your fucking right to be connected to this earth, right? So we deal with that. Then we also deal with a legal service, a consultation service, where we have a phone number that people can text. We have people text it first, so that way the different numbers we deal with, we can refresh our minds on what each specific case is about, because we have a lot of people that we deal with. The number is 401-336-6799. Again, it's 401-336-6799. We also are working on forming the Moorish militia. Again, I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I was in for 4 years. We have an Instagram, Moorish militia, on Instagram, where, you know, again, I show our people how to BZO a rifle, you know, things like that. You can also reach me on rise_of_the_moors on Instagram, or Squirrelfoot on Instagram, which is a name that I got when I was in Japan from one of our Cherokee brothers. His name was Young Bear. So that's my Native American quote unquote nickname, you know, but that has a certain energy to it, because squirrels are indigenous to Native, to America. Squirrels, when they have the acorns, they will dig fake holes and to hide their food. And then once they plant those acorns develop into trees, which provide for everything. You know, it literally it literally deals with the circle of life. So that's why I have that name. You know, squirrels also have impeccable balance, you know, things like that. So it means something. You know, it's not just, oh, squirrel foot's funny. Nah, it fucking means something. That's basically it. You know, I'm just doing what I think I should be doing to help our people. And, you know, if you rock with it, you rock with it. If you don't, stay the fuck away from me because I don't need your energy around me.
Yo, you dropping gems. You know, we never forgot that name from that day. I said squirrel. I said, what a unique name. What is that? Yeah. He just said the story, just how he got it. That's official. Wait up.
Hey, remember there's levels to this shit.
Yeah, right. I never forgot. That's a fact, bro. Yo, we fucks with you hard body, man. Anything that you need, you know, you give us a call. I'm sure I'll be calling you more than you need me. Fact, man. I mean, you give it up, man. You give it up. And we appreciate you for coming on the tap in. You know, you guys hit this man up. He's very informative, as you can see. He's got a lot of answers and he comes with his scrolls, man. We appreciate you for coming on the show. And you know, this will be on repeat, so y'all be able to watch this. Y'all can go back and get all the info if y'all missed it. If y'all missed anything, y'all will be able to go back and get it. It'll be on YouTube, also on my Instagram page, my personal page, as well as the Tap In podcast page. So make sure y'all show love and support for our brother Squarefoot right here. His PayPal's on the bottom of the screen. So make sure y'all screenshot that. Show him some support. Yeah, some monetary love. Show that brother some support for giving his time and energy, you know, to y'all on today. We appreciate y'all and we love y'all for being in tune. Take this information and run with it because we need y'all to be strong so that we can have somebody to lean on when it's time. So that when we mobilize, you know, we know that we ready. You know, don't make, like he said in the beginning of the show, it don't really help if it's just one or two of us got together and everybody else ain't on point. We need to be on point as a collective in order for us to progress here in the States. So we appreciate you. May the divine force of me greet the divine force in you, and may you manifest every heart's desire, my dear brother. We love you. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. And what you did right there with your hands, there's a picture of Prophet Noble Drew Ali doing that too, just so you know.
Send that to me. I need that.
Yeah, I'll send that to you. And Noble Drew Ali referred to himself as the Egyptian, as an Egyptian adept student. You know, so he definitely honored, you know, Kemetic philosophy. So any more saying we don't honor that, don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah,
and if they have a problem with you, send them to me.
All right, for sure.
I don't give a fuck. Anybody can get the work.
I haven't seen any more like kind of react what I'm saying yet though. And I met quite a few, and they know what I stand on, but I have never gotten that energy from a more just yet. I ain't gonna don't quote me on it, but I haven't felt that yet. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I definitely will. Yeah, we
like I said, when I first encountered you, I felt your energy. It felt real to me. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, it looked like you were sincere. I felt that. So, you know, the only thing I would say that Moors will have to say about anything you say is the word black, and that's literally
it. Right, and I get that.
Yeah, that's it.
100%. Yep.
Because the spiritualism and the philosophy, it is more science. You know, our religion, excuse me, is not called Islam. Our religion is ancient Kemetic philosophy. It's just Islam is one of the major philosophies of that philosophy. It's peace. Right. Islam just means peace. It's not the name of the religion. It's just one of the pillars of the religion. It's just one of the things that holds it up.
Right.
You know, it's not the name itself. So, you know, that's why Noble Drew Ali said, you know, is Islam a new religion or is it an ancient religion? It's ancient. Then we look up the ancient religions, Zoroastrianism, you know, Kemetic philosophy. It's all saying the same shit. You know, that's why Noble Drew Ali put in the Quran, chapter 10, you know, everyone has a name for the universal creator, but it's the same causeless cause and rootless root. It don't matter what you call it. Greeks call him Zeus. You know, Hebrews call him Yahweh or Jehovah. Right. Christians call him God. Muslims call him Allah. It's the same causeless cause and rootless root that none of us can fully explain. We can only grasp little parts of it.
Yeah.
Why? Because all of us are God having a human experience. And my human experience is a little bit different than yours, but they're similar.
Yeah, I get that 100%.
And what I just said is only one way to explain it. I don't have that, you know what I mean? It's just we get caught up in the I have all the answer type mentality when we fucking don't. Like you said earlier, we all have pieces to this big ass puzzle.
What I've learned, especially like after the wake up call, and then dealing with situations after that. Because I got backlash even for standing next to people of different ideologies and stuff like that, or different faiths or whatever they want to call it today, or lack thereof. But what I've learned is about meeting people where they're at to bring them out of it. Like
higher
um
degrees.
I, yeah, I've always been good at I can speak articulately when I feel like it, and then I could also get hood in them motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like when I feel like it's a matter of understanding who you're talking to. So people know, like I've done videos talking about the word black and not using it and stuff like that. But then I've also done records where I would refer to myself as black, and that's strategically done. You see what I'm saying? Because collectively, I know if I'm going to deal with people here in the United States and I want to get them to understand where we need to go, I need to speak their language. You see what I'm saying? So, it's a two-sided coin. With it, yeah, exactly. So it's all about who you're speaking to at that moment in time. Because when I say black people, there's a certain demographic of people that's going to turn around and listen to what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Here in the United States. Now, if I'm sitting with my Moorish friends or even my Kemite friends, yeah, we ain't talking like that. When I'm with my Kemites, I'm saying my hem sanu, I'm saying sente, I'm saying nasu. They know what I mean when I say that. Baba, things of that nature. So it all depends on who you're talking to. But we got flavors, for everybody. We gotta keep flavors for everybody. I might drop an R&B record one day. I might drop a hip hop record one day. You never know. What I might do. It all depends on who I'm talking to, and it's just to show just how multifaceted we are as a people. And right, she said she's literally saying the words that I'm saying as I'm saying it. Like that's the connection right there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I think that we've gotten to a stage, people here in America, where we are now starting to tap into the vibratory frequencies now, where we can almost say what we got to say without even using words. You know what I'm saying? It's a vibe, like you said. Like I felt your energy, I felt your sincerity. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't even speak that much. This is our first conversation, right? But you can
we
tell
spoke more here than we did there.
we did there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can tell. It's I think that we've gotten to that level now as a people collectively where we can feel one another's energy and what we're trying to say one another and to say to one another. And now it opens up the doors for us to be able to speak the things that we normally wouldn't be able to say to one another, in a room, because people will get offended. But now it's like, oh, I get it now. You know what I'm saying? Like we're coming together for once, So it's a dope thing. This is a dope build. And I can tell
100%.
Yeah, man. I gratitude, man. I can tell the people in the feed, they got a lot out of it. And I hope to have you back on the show, when we have questions, because things are going to arise, and I know that you're going to probably have the answers. So I hope to have you back on the show again at some point one day, bro.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to that.
We're gonna go out with what y'all
want. Before you go out, can I leave you with one more reference point? Look up the Organization of American States.
Put that
Look up their Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. They define what an indigenous person is. In Article 1, they'll say an indigenous person is those who embody historical continuity with lands prior to European colonization, as well as those brought involuntarily to the New World, who reconnected themselves with cultures from which they've been torn. So that's about nationality. So even if our people believe that they were brought here on a boat, they're still considered indigenous people according to the other Americans here in America.
That's key.
Yep.
That's key. So that's even if somebody's been
the Organization of American States, their Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People.
Yeah, that's major key, because most of the people here are miseducated and they don't know. So now, even if they have fallen under that jurisdiction, they can get up out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
And that's what we need you guys to do, man. You got to take these steps. You got to apply the knowledge. Don't just sit here and spit the rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's one thing that I'm big on is when you know something, you got to do something about it. You have to act on it. Like, it's going to bother me in my sleep. That's how I move. Like, if I learn something, it bothers me. If you got, I know my history. I was 35 years into Christianity. You know what I'm saying? And for me to be able to get up out of that, it shows you the type of person that I am. If somebody give me a piece of information, I have to act on it, whether it's now or later. I'm going to start setting those pieces in place, to make sure that I can act on the information that I get. And I highly advise that y'all all get into that if you're not into it already. Act on the information that you get. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yep.
Ashe. Yep. What song are we going to play, y'all? What song are we going to play today? Our path over here laughing like, are you kidding me? Shout out to the viewers. We just went over 10,000 views on that record today. Shout out to all the viewers out there. We just went over 10,000 views on the record, and that's just on Instagram. So we officially went viral on I'm Black and Proud. So shout out to everybody that's been showing love, everybody that's been streaming it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna close out with that. And I'll probably play one more record, but I'll let y'all stay in the feed and chop it up. Show your love to my brother here, Jamaal Talib Abdullah Bey. Hit him up in that PayPal and show him some love, y'all, because he gave y'all some vital information. Take that tax money that you normally give to the government and give it over to my boy, okay? Okay,
not all of it.
My God, stop playing. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? We out.
Feel me?
They hate me cause I'm black and proud and unapologetic, and I wear the crown.
Yeah.
And they cannot forget it, yes I'm.
Ha. They study your genetic code, then give it to the highest bidder soul. Fish out the fire like a bendigo. The devil diggers cause we been the gold. Melanated bodies on a sugar boat. Document December with no winter coat. Now they buck breaking on the whipping post and put the foreign language on a nigga though. Hella black, hella proud. A vibe you could feel when we come around. A Babylon fear us and gun us down. The skin is the weapon that harness power. I pity the fool if he act funny. Disrespecting the queen, we act nutty. Came through with the Mac dumping, all praise due to the black woman. Unapologetic, fuck who got a problem with it. My life in the scripture. It happened cause I said it, now I manifested, so I'll be painting the picture. Niggas breaking bread and they drinking blood now. That shit look like voodoo. I feel empowered every time the sun come around. Do you?
They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm proud. They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm they hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm proud. They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. I'm black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. They hate me cause
This is that energy, niggas couldn't put a price on it, no dollars. I am T'Challa, Kamanga, wrapped up in the finest linen, no collars. All the gods the same, Jesus, Jehovah, Kukulkan, Buddha, and Allah. All war names, just to separate our people, divide and conquer. So much more to gain, cause we suffer through all the rain, through the hunger and all the pain. Still we open up doors and things, cause we are the people, under the eye of the eagle, ready to ride on the evil, that shit I've been trying to teach you. Dying to reach you, cause nobody fly in regal. Yeah, black and I'm proud, never lacking a lot. I created that bullshit, so God, I'm allowed. If you on that bullshit, it's whacking them out. Booking these shows and we packing them out. I don't act for the clout, you know what I'm about. System designed for us not to get out. We must be divine, I'm not finna doubt.
They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm proud. They hate me cause I'm black. They hate me cause I'm black and I'm proud. They hate me cause